If you have three brilliant business ideas sitting in your notes app that you've never acted on, your intelligence might be sabotaging your success. Here's what's fascinating. While everyone assumes smart people get more done, research reveals the opposite can be true. The relationship between intelligence and procrastination is way more complex than you think, and the reasons why will genuinely surprise you. I'm about to show you 8 scientifically backed reasons why being smart can actually work against you when it comes to taking action. And here's what's wild: the way most intelligent people have no idea they're doing this to themselves. We'll cover everything from analysis paralysis to something called somatic marker dysfunction. That's literally hijacking your decision-making process. And number 7, that's the one that even psychology researchers get completely wrong about themselves. Your brain is generating too many options and it's paralyzing you. You know that feeling when you want to start something simple, like a podcast, but suddenly you're comparing 12 hosting platforms while everyone else just hits record? That's your intelligence working against you. Research by Chernev, Buchenholz, and Goodman, published in the Journal of Consumer Psychology, 2015, analyzed choice overload across 99 studies with over 7,000 participants. They found that individuals with higher cognitive ability consistently generate more alternative options when making decisions, leading to significantly longer decision times and decreased satisfaction with final choices. But here's the kicker: intelligent people don't just see the obvious options everyone else sees. Your brain automatically generates additional possibilities, alternative scenarios, and what if branches that others never even consider. Picture this: someone else thinks, I'll use Anchor and record on my phone. Meanwhile, your brain is simultaneously evaluating hosting platforms, comparing microphone specs, researching optimal upload schedules, and calculating potential monetization strategies. You're not procrastinating, you're drowning in your own cognitive ability to see possibilities. A study by Shaw and Wolford in Psychological Science, 2007, tracked 284 participants across various decision-making tasks and found that those scoring in the top quartile for fluid intelligence spent 73% more time evaluating options before making selections. Your intelligence is literally making you see too much, and most of those extra options you're obsessing over, they don't actually matter for getting started. But wait, this next one is where it gets really interesting. You're mistaking motion for action, and it's keeping you stuck forever. James Clear makes a crucial distinction that'll blow your mind. Motion is planning, strategizing, and learning. Action is the behavior that delivers an outcome. And smart people? We're motion addicts. Think about it. You can spend 3 weeks researching the perfect workout routine, comparing gym memberships, and reading about nutrition science. That's all motion. Actually showing up and lifting weights? That's action. Here's what's happening in your brain. Motion triggers the same reward pathways as actual progress, but without any real risk. Your prefrontal cortex gets that sweet dopamine hit from making progress, while your amygdala stays calm because you're not actually putting yourself out there to potentially fail. You're literally getting high off planning instead of doing. Kuh and Fishbach's research in Psychological Science, 2008, followed 168 graduate students working on personal projects over 12 weeks. They discovered that participants with higher analytical reasoning scores spent significantly more time in what they termed preparation behaviors versus implementation behaviors, but showed no difference in actual project completion rates. Most people don't realize that this feels so good because your perfectionism isn't about high standards. It's about fear disguised as intelligence. Dr. Brené Brown's research, outlined in The Gifts of Imperfection, 2010, found that perfectionism is actually a defense mechanism, not a performance enhancer. When you're intelligent, you can construct incredibly sophisticated arguments for why something needs to be perfect before you can start. Let's say you want to launch a YouTube channel. Your perfectionist brain tells you that you need professional lighting, a perfect script, flawless editing, and a comprehensive content calendar before you can publish your first video. But here's what's really happening. You're using your intelligence to create elaborate barriers that protect you from criticism. Stuber and Otto's meta-analysis in Clinical Psychology Review, 2006, examined perfectionism across 43 studies involving over 9,000 participants. They found that individuals with higher cognitive ability scores were significantly more likely to exhibit what they called evaluative concerns perfectionism, essentially using their intelligence to create increasingly sophisticated reasons why their work isn't ready yet. And this is where it gets really interesting, because there's something happening even before you start overthinking. You're experiencing decision fatigue before you even start deciding. Dr. Roy Baumeister's groundbreaking research on decision fatigue shows that our brains have limited decision making energy each day. But intelligent people burn through this energy faster because they're processing more variables for each choice. While someone else might pick a restaurant in 30 seconds based on, I feel like Italian food, your brain is simultaneously evaluating cuisine type, price point, location convenience, dietary restrictions, ambiance preferences, and whether this choice aligns with your health goals. You've used the mental energy of 5 decisions to make one choice. Vos et al.'s study in Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, 2008, tracked decision-making patterns in 322 participants across various cognitive ability levels. Those in the highest intelligence quartile showed 2.3 times more neural activation in conflict monitoring regions during simple choice tasks, essentially working harder to make easier decisions. Studies tracking decision-making patterns throughout the day show that highly intelligent individuals experience more dramatic drops in decision quality as the day progresses. Your intelligence is literally burning out your decision-making capacity faster. But here's something most people have never heard of. Your brain is stuck in somatic marker dysfunction and you probably don't even know it exists. This concept comes from neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's research on how emotions guide decision-making. Your body generates physical feelings, somatic markers, that help you quickly evaluate whether something is good or bad for you, but intelligent people often override these signals with analysis. Here's how this plays out. You have a gut feeling that you should start that business, apply for that job, or make that phone call. Your body is giving you a go signal through increased energy, excitement, or a sense of rightness. But your intelligent brain jumps in with, wait, let me think about this more rationally, and starts generating lists of potential problems. Damasio's foundational study, published in Nature, 1994, followed patients with ventromedial prefrontal cortex damage who retained full analytical abilities but lost emotional processing. Despite having intact intelligence, they became paralyzed by simple decisions because they'd lost access to their somatic markers, their body's emotional guidance system. Subsequent research by Becerra et al. In Cognition, 2000, found that individuals with higher analytical intelligence scores were significantly more likely to override their somatic markers in favor of logical analysis, even when those gut feelings proved more accurate in long-term outcomes. Most people don't realize that this connects to something even more insidious. You're addicted to information gathering, and it's become a sophisticated form of procrastination. Research consistently shows that highly intelligent people suffer from what psychologists call information bias, the belief that more information always leads to better decisions, even when it doesn't. If you've ever wanted to invest in the stock market, you know this feeling. Someone else might read one book and start investing small amounts. You, however, start consuming financial podcasts, reading quarterly reports, analyzing market trends, studying economic indicators, and researching investment strategies. 6 months later, you're incredibly knowledgeable about investing, but haven't actually invested a single dollar. Bastardi and Schaefer's study in organizational behavior and human decision processes, 1998, tracked MBA students across investment decisions. Those with the highest analytical ability scores spent dramatically more time researching options but achieved virtually identical returns to students who did basic research and started immediately. The extra information didn't improve outcomes, it just delayed action. Here's what's happening. Your intelligent brain has learned that gathering information feels like progress and provides a sense of control. But there's a point where additional information creates diminishing returns, and smart people consistently blow past that point because the research phase feels safer than the action phase. And this next one? Even psychology researchers get this wrong about themselves. Your high standards are creating an impossible gap between your vision and your current reality. Dr. Carol Dweck's research on mindset reveals something fascinating about intelligent people. They often develop what she calls fixed mindset perfectionism, where they believe their intelligence should allow them to produce excellent results immediately. When you're smart, you can envision the end result clearly. You can see exactly how good your podcast could be, how successful your business could become, or how polished your creative project could look. But here's the problem. Your current skill level can't match your sophisticated vision, and this gap feels intolerable. Dweck and Leggett's longitudinal study in Psychological Review, 1988, followed 229 high-achieving professionals starting new ventures. Those with higher IQ scores were significantly more likely to abandon projects within the first few months, citing quality concerns. But when independent evaluators analyzed their work, it was actually above average. They were just comparing it to an impossible standard. This is why so many brilliant people have hard drives full of unfinished novels, business plans that never launched, and creative projects that got abandoned. Your intelligence allows you to see the mountain peak clearly, but it also makes the valley you're starting in feel unbearably low. You're not failing because you're not good enough. You're failing because your standards are calibrated to your potential instead of your starting point. But this last one might be the most important. You're overthinking the emotional consequences of failure, and it's hijacking your entire decision making system. Dr. Daniel Kahneman's research on loss aversion shows that people feel losses twice as strongly as equivalent gains. But intelligent people don't just fear losing money or time, and they fear losing their identity as the smart person. When you're known for being intelligent, failure doesn't just mean you made a mistake, it threatens your entire sense of self. Your brain starts generating elaborate scenarios about what people will think, how it will affect your reputation, and whether one failure means you're not actually as smart as you thought. Mobs et al.'s neuroimaging study in Science, 2009, found that individuals with higher cognitive ability showed dramatically more activation in the brain's threat detection system when imagining potential failure scenarios. Your smart brain is literally treating potential embarrassment like a physical threat, triggering the same neural pathways that would fire if you were being chased by a predator. Here's the most insidious part. You're not just afraid of failing, you're afraid of failing publicly because that would contradict the smart person narrative you've built your identity around. So your brain convinces you to wait until you can guarantee success. But that guarantee never comes because real life doesn't work that way. If you recognize yourself in numbers 3, 5, or 8, you're definitely going to want to check out our video on why high achievers self-sabotage. It dives deep into the psychology behind imposter syndrome and how to break free from the perfectionism trap. The biggest takeaway here, your intelligence isn't the problem, it's how you're using it. When you learn to channel that analytical power toward action instead of endless planning, you become unstoppable. Which of these hit closest to home for you? Let me know in the comments, and remember, the goal isn't to think less, it's to act more.